as I've been working on my second feature film, Mustang Martha, it's a much bigger project than my first feature, Acid Test, in terms of budget and scope. And so I've had to do a lot more pitching for the project in terms of trying to get funders, investors, donations, partners. Just the whole development thing has been a lot longer than with Acid Test. And I know in the past, some people have asked about tips for pitch decks, and I think I had a video about that. And recently, I had a couple of verbal pitches, and so I thought I would talk about what I thought made a good in-person verbal pitch. So I think the most important thing for any kind of pitch is to maintain eye contact. And so if you're pitching to a room, you want to kind of make eye contact with the various people around you, which can be intimidating sometimes, but I think that that really helps you stay connected and grounded. It helps them see seen, it helps them feel seen and be connected to your pitch. So I think eye contact is essential. But what that means is that your pitch has to be memorized, right? You can't be looking at notes, you can't turn around to look at the screen. The moment you turn your back on your audience, your pitch is dead. And so you really want that eye contact, that memorization, that conversational nature. Even when I do verbal pitches on the computer, I'll pull up my written pitch so that I have kind of my reference there, but I look into camera and I try to make sure that I don't sound like I'm just reading something. It's a performance. That's what pitching is. Pitching is a performance. So eye contact, so important. Then the next is, especially if you're under a time crunch, so there are different pitch competitions where you have 90 seconds or 2 minutes or 5 minutes or 10 minutes or 7 minutes, whatever that time limit is, most of the time, especially at these competitions, they're going to cut you off, right? So they're not going to give you any kind of grace period of like, oh, okay, you can finish that final sentence. They'll be like, time, and that's it. So make sure that you practice your pitch and time it. And if it's too long, you then cut. You definitely want to write your pitch out. You have to write it like a script. What are you going to say? And if you perform it, and you perform it at the pace that is understandable, because that's another thing too, you don't want to rush through your pitch and this is what happens and this and this and this and blah blah blah, like nobody's going to understand what it is that you're saying. So make sure that you are able to perform it and speak it at an intelligible level. And if it's too long, then you have to cut back on your script and tighten it up and find ways to say the same thing in a shorter amount of time. And you repeat and you repeat and you repeat and you get it under that time. And this happened recently where there were some times where I had kind of gotten my pitch to just under 5 minutes, but at the very last moment, I decided to kind of add another sentence on the fly, which sometimes that works, sometimes that doesn't, but I ended up kind of stumbling a little, kind of going a little bit too long. And so that pushed my pitch a little bit longer. So time was called right as I finished the second to last sentence. So I didn't get my final punchline in. I ended at a perfectly good spot, but I did have kind of like a final zinger that I wanted to end on as kind of a whatever power move, or just, to leave a lasting impression. But because I kind of changed it on the fly and didn't incorporate it into the script, it left me short, with time. So you want to practice and practice and practice and practice. And if you're using a visual presentation, you want to make sure that you're practicing while also physically clicking through the deck. You want to make sure that your deck has minimal text on it. You don't want people spending too much time reading because then they're not listening to you. So you want to have a good balance of making sure that the words on screen are corresponding to what it is that you're saying, and that what you're saying is what's kind of grabbing people. And the more that you practice and time yourself and practice and memorize and all of this, the more it will help curb whatever nerves are going to do to you on the day of, because you just have it cold. You can say it in your sleep, you know? And again, it will make it more conversational. There will be ways where you can kind of like feed off the room. Again, it's a performance. So those are kind of some of the most important aspects to giving a pitch and things to kind of keep in mind. Uh, there are some key tips like ask leading questions that again bring your audience in. Have you ever thought of this? Have you ever experienced that? Things that are related to the themes of the movie that put them kind of into your main character's dilemma. High concept, it's this meets that, always is a good way because people have attention spans. If you spend too long talking about the story, people are going to kind of fade out. So having some kind of high concept gives them something to lock into and again take away with. And then finally, who is your audience? Who are you pitching to? So in my case, I had a pitch to a manager, and then I had a pitch to a group of people who were producers and investors. So for the producer investor one, they want to know what their return on investment is. So having some kind of financials in there with, again, without getting lost in the weeds is something that's really important. And so each pitch is a learning experience. It allows you to figure out what worked, what didn't work, and refine it for the next time and to get stronger the next time you do it. And again, it is very much a performance. You want to make sure that it's ingrained so much that you don't even have to think about the words. It just kind of comes out.